Good evening. I am calling to order the Westfield, Washington Township Planning Advisory Commission to order on Monday, August 4th, 2025. First item on our agenda is the ascertaining of the presence of a quorum. Staff.
Mr. Buckfist.
Present.
Mr. Horkay.
Here.
Mr. Kahn.
Here.
Dr. Keene.
Here.
Ms. Carlson. Mr. McCarty.
Here.
Mr. Mooney.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Present.
Mr. Woodard. We have quorum.
We do have a quorum. Thank you very much. I have no items on the agenda to change, so no announcement there. Next item is the approval of the previous meeting minutes from our July 7, 2025 meeting. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor McCarty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is our rules of procedure for the evening. Mr. Crabtree.
Yes, for the items requiring a public hearing, tonight's meeting has the following structure. The department will summarize the petition, and then the petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present to the Plan Commission. The president will open a public hearing. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those representing a group will be given 5 minutes to speak. Only one member of the group will be given 5 minutes to speak, and for efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. The public hearing will be closed when all interested members of the audience have had a chance to be heard and all emails received during the meeting have been provided to commission members. The petitioner will be then given 10 minutes to respond to comments without interruption. The commission will follow with any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the petition, and this may include additional discussion with the petitioner. For items that do not require public hearing, which is none of them other than the consent agenda, so we can just go ahead and skip that. As for rules of conduct this evening, please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private discussion, then we ask that you please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time. If you must answer them, then please quietly exit the room. If you are attending in person and wish to speak in regards to a petition scheduled for a public hearing, then please line up along the west wall once the public hearing is open, next to Kevin over here, and please sign the speaker sheet as you approach the podium to speak. For efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. During your comments, please state your name and address into the microphone for the record, and we ask that you not repeat previously stated comments. Your presentation will be timed, and you will be advised when there are approximately 30 seconds remaining. If you are not attending in person, comments regarding a petition should be emailed to planners@westfield.in.gov with the petition name or number included in the subject line, and those comments will be forwarded to Plan Commission members and the petitioner. We'd like to remind everyone to please speak directly into the microphone so your comments can be put onto the record. Also, please mute your microphone while not speaking. If you come up to the podium to speak, please ensure the microphone is on as indicated by the green light on the base. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just for those online, I always want to stress, just as Mr. Crabtree said, planners@westfield.in.gov. When those public hearings open, and if nobody's coming up, I'll close it fairly quickly. So I want to make sure that if you are getting ready to start writing something, that you start prepping to do so now. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have two items, 2508-DDP-24 and 2508-DDP-25. We'll turn to staff for any discussion on those. And I know our Parks Director is here. You are welcome to say anything if you would like. You don't have to. I see a negative response to that, so we will continue to move on. Mr. Crabtree. Do you have any?
I have no comments. No, I was going to say no comments.
No comments from staff. Any discussion from the board? Otherwise, we can take the consent agenda in one motion.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Moved by Dr. Keene. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Horkay. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Buckfist.
Yes.
Mr. Horkay.
Yes.
Mr. Kahn.
Yes.
Dr. Keene.
Yes.
Mr. McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Mooney.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. That is approved. We can move on. There are no items of business this evening, so we will move right to those public hearings. First item up is 2508-PUD-16. That is the Chatham Hills Planned Unit Development Amendment 10. We will turn to, looks like again, Mr. Crabtree.
Good evening, Plan Commission. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening for a public hearing is an amendment to add slightly less than 12 acres to the existing Chatham Hills PUD to accommodate the development of a maximum of 3 residential lots. Minimum lot sizes would be 90,000 square feet, over 2 acres in size, and architecturally, these lots would be required to follow the existing standards set forth in Section 16 of the original Chatham Hills PUD. Access to the lots would utilize the existing Ivy Ridge public right-of-way to the south, with a private gate being permitted. None of the lots would be accessed from State Road 38. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. The department has received no comments. After the public hearing, if the commission finds the ordinance of their satisfaction, the department recommends waiving the workshop and forwarding a recommendation to the city council. John Dawashewitz with Nelson and Frankenberg is present this evening to provide additional details. Thank you.
Mr. Domashewitz, good evening and welcome.
For the record, my name is John Dawashewitz. I'm a land use professional at the law firm of Nelson and Frankenberg. We represent the applicant, Jason Waters. Also present tonight is Jim Schinover, an attorney with our office. As Mr. Crabtree indicated, the presentation this evening is for an amendment to the Chatham Hills PUD. So we're taking this 12 acres and we're importing it into the zoning standards of Chatham Hills. Another separate petition, which will be reviewed by the council, is for annexation as well, because we're adjacent to the city, and we would annex the 12 acres, only this 12 acres and not surrounding real estate, into the corporate limits of the city of Westfield. This first exhibit outlines the property in yellow. As I indicated, it's 12 acres. The aerial doesn't do it justice. There's approximately 25 feet of fall from State Road 38 into this site. You can see the jagged line that's represented here. That's approximately where the creek is. So there's a creek that runs through the center part of the site and up here, and then ultimately crosses State Road 38 near Dunbar, which is off map to a little bit further to the west. So there's approximately 25 feet of fall there. The top of the hill, or crest of the hill, is about in this location over here, and then we're traveling westbound. It dips back down to where the creek crosses, again, further to our west. There's an additional blue line that you see at the far south end of the development. That parcel today is part of Chatham Hills, but our client is acquiring that narrow strip, which will give it adjacency to the common area. If you look very closely here at the bottom, this is Ivy Hills Drive. This is a temporary cul-de-sac that will be completed out with curb and a typical roundabout, or excuse me, rather, cul-de-sac cross-section. If we can go to the concept plan. This is the concept plan. As Mr. Crabtree indicated, we previously had 4 lots, 1, 2, 3, and there was a 4th that would propose access to State Road 38. That is no longer, with an underline under the word no longer part of the request. That area north of the creek and along 38 will be part of lot number 1. So that overall lot will be about almost 8 acres in size. The smallest of the 3 lots will be just over 2 acres, located here and located here. The minimum lot size in the ordinance is 90,000 square feet. You can see here, this is the completion of that cul-de-sac. The dashed lines, the several dashed lines that go from east to west here, that represents overhead power transmission lines. And then there'll be one driveway that comes off of that cul-de-sac that serves the 3 lots. So it'll access here, as Dane indicated. There'll be a gated entrance along this driveway that stops here with access to this lot, access to the center lot, and access to the westernmost lot in this vicinity right there. And additionally, while it is part of our zoning request, the other component of this is that we're annexing the parcel, or not annexing, amending the parcel into the Chatham Hills PUD. So the construction on all 3 of these lots will be subject to the covenants and restrictions, as well as the architectural and development requirements that exist for all other homes within that space. So if you see the homes constructed south off of Ivy Ridge or that other area in this vicinity, the same architectural standards will apply to development here. They'll submit them to the Architecture Review Board for Chatham and go through that process with Chatham. In conclusion, we had a neighborhood meeting on July 22nd. There's a couple folks I see in the audience this evening that attended that meeting. We received the staff report and are in agreement with the recommendation made by staff, and if it's the will of the Plan Commission at the conclusion of the public hearing, and of course your questions being addressed, We would respectfully request that this matter be forwarded back to the city council. Again, and that's if there's nothing that we need additional consideration of at a future workshop meeting. With that, I'll conclude and be glad to address any questions that the Plan Commission members have, either at this time or at the conclusion of your public hearing.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the board before we move to the public hearing portion? Seeing and hearing none, we will go ahead then and open the public hearing on this item at 7:10 p.m. If you are here to speak on this matter, again, come to the shorter dais here to sign in on the clipboard, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak, 5 minutes if you're here for a group. If you are online, planners at westfield.in.gov. Any takers in the room? Well, if you do want to address this, you'll have to.
It's down in here.
My name's Bob Stinson. Address is 2110 Ivy Ridge. I'm the own house right below on the cul-de-sac here. Just a couple questions. Would the construction be fed through Ivy Ridge? I'm taking it then, since there's no access off of 38. And then I noticed that they have utilities marked already by where I guess the gate would be. Would there be like a possible start date? All my other questions have been answered, so.
Great. What we'll do is, the developers heard that behind you. When they come back up to address those, they'll address that for everyone to be heard. Thank you very much. As we wait for anyone else that wishes to address, Mrs. Carlson arrived at 7:11 p.m. for the record. Any other members of the room? Any online comments? Staff? None. Okay, very good. In that case, we will close this public hearing at 7:12 p.m. Mr. Dobashewitz, if you'd like to address the series of questions we had, we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, this is Ivy Ridge to our south. The completion of this cul-de-sac will be a little bit smaller cross-section than what's out there today. It is paved, but it's a larger circular area where trucks turn around today. All construction activity would come off of Ivy Ridge, both of the construction, of course, of the cul-de-sac, as well as construction on the 3 homes. It's anticipated that the completion of the cul-de-sac will take approximately 4 weeks. It won't be a significant amount of construction every day, but over that period of time would be 4 weeks, and that's anticipated to be October, November-ish. And the start of construction on at least the first home that would be on the center lot, Mr. Waters anticipates that to start mid to late November.
Very good. Members of the commission, comments, questions? I am seeing and hearing none. So I believe we have if we are comfortable, a request to suspend the rules, to waive the workshop, and to recommend this evening. So if that is the pleasure of the board, we'll have 2 votes. The first would be on suspension of the rules. Is there a motion? I am hearing none.
Motion to suspend the rules.
I'll move.
Okay, wait, so I have a okay, very good. I have a motion by Councilor McCarty. I have a second by Dr. Keene. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Khan,
Yes.
Dr. Keene,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Bunkenfist.
Yes.
Motion to waive the workshop has been granted.
Excellent. Next item for this then is to make a recommendation to council if that is the pleasure of the board. What is the pleasure of the board on this matter?
Make a motion to recommend 2508 PUD 16 to council.
Motion by Mr. Bunkenfist. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor McCarty. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Khan,
Yes.
Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Bunkefest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for your time this evening.
Have a wonderful evening. Next public hearing item is 2508-PUD-17, which is the Lantern Commons Planned Unit Development Amendment 2. I believe this evening we have Lauren Gillingham-Teague from the team to come and give us the opening presentation. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, members of the Planning Commission. For the record, Lauren Gillingham-Teague with the Community Development Department. Before I begin, I'm going to pass out a public comment that we received earlier today that I ran out of time to send to you guys, so we have it physically. Okay, now we got that public humiliation out of the way. All righty, so the item before you tonight is the public hearing for the amendment, for an amendment to the Lantern Commons PUD ordinance. As a reminder, this PUD is generally located at 161st Street, with Westfield Boulevard, Union, and 31 making up the bounding roads. Directly to the north is the farmhouse at Lantern Commons, which I believe just started leasing out its first building. And then the L7 Hotel is approved directly to the west. This PUD amendment would permit a proposed mixed-use development comprising of 2 4-story buildings. So 1 story of solely retail or commercial, and then 3 stories of residential. Several plaza spaces and a standalone restaurant right there anchoring the corner. It's hard to tell on the aerials, but there's a change in grade there. A neighborhood meeting was held last Wednesday and generated some good discussion. We have received 1 public comment, as you guys have received. Matt Skelton with Church, Hill, and Antrim is here to give a short presentation. He and I are both able to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Skelton, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name, for the record, Matt Skelton with law offices at 116 North Union Street here in town. With me this evening from my office is attorney Lisa Claghorn, also owner developer team Brian Bischoff and Phil Milto are here this evening, and also our Studio M, our architecture team, is present if there's any questions. Yeah, that, if you don't mind. Is this it? Oh, great. All right. This amendment before you this evening to the Lantern Commons PUD has been submitted to permit the development of a highly amenitized luxury mixed-use development. As you may recall, the original Lantern Commons proposal was approved back in April of 2021. That's the overall site. The area we're talking about is area C here. The site was originally approved to permit more of a traditional suburban retail center with parking really the center of the development. This proposal, one of the noteworthy changes is that whereas would be permitted today, drive-throughs have been eliminated, and that's just a complete difference in the design and the function of this site. The originally approved concept plan did not have as much pedestrian focus or alternative transportation focus. As most of you know, this site is located in an important place close to Cool Creek Park, Natalie Wheeler Trail, adjacent to the site, to Lantern Commons. Liberty Park is actually catty-corner across the street from this location. Westfield Boulevard Parkway, which is anticipated to be completed before this project would open by the end of next year. And it will have it'll be a parkway design with alternative transportation opportunities all the way leading to downtown. and also easy access to the Midland-Monon Loop, which is an important trail connector within Westfield's downtown. The owners have worked extensively with the city on this vision, this revised vision for the parcel. The city encouraged the owners to really step back and consider increasing the use of this site, employing more contemporary mixed-use development practices. This results in a significant additional investment in the property if it were to have been developed as originally reflected in the original PUD. It would represent somewhere in the neighborhood of about maybe a $10 million project. This represents somewhere more in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 million. This is more in line with the city's interests in increasing the city's tax base while also providing more and better amenities for Westfield residents. This amendment would create a high-end lifestyle destination, not only for its residents, but for visitors, including 8 to 10 retail spaces on the ground floor. As Lauren mentioned, the building here on the corner is intended for restaurant use, and then living opportunities above. I'm just going to skip through these. These are all in your materials if you want to stop on them. But you can see some of the plaza areas and highly amenitized public spaces here. I'll walk through them in a little bit more detail. And so this is the northern portion of the site, the northern building. And there's a dog park area here in this location. There is more of a passive plaza for dining and just social gathering, more of a quieter space here. This includes a public art installation along with a shade structure gathering area, along with really some artistically designed features, which I'll get to here on a later slide. And then, of course, the main plaza. This is a highly active area. This is designed for outdoor seating. It's skirted by restaurants and shops along this area. Outdoor seating here. There's also an intention to have outdoor pool table and table tennis type. If anybody's been to the Midtown Plaza, very similar to the Sun King area. Artificial turf area here with a large viewing screen for movie watching or events. And just very highly I'm not doing it justice, but this is a very, many things to do here. Incorporated artistic tiered seating here, 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 and just a great place to convene. This proposal offers a significant upgrade from what is currently approved for the site. It aligns with current market trends which favor boutique mixed-use developments that focus on placemaking. It also does a better job really of complementing the transition from roundabout on the corner here, lower scale, higher scale, and then you have the L7 Hotel, which is just a little even higher scale. And it creates a really neat tiered architectural effect. With that, that concludes our overview, and we'd appreciate your consideration this evening. And happy to respond to questions if you have any, either now or after the hearing.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Are there initial questions from the board? Seeing and hearing none. We will go ahead and open the public hearing on this matter. Again, if you're here to speak, there's a clipboard on the lower dais. You have 3 minutes to speak. 5 if you're here for a group, and if you're online, planners@westfield.in.gov. This hearing is open at 7:24 p.m. Any members of the room wish to speak on the matter? Are there any online comments? Okay. None. Last chance for those in the room. Seeing and hearing none, we will close this public hearing at 7:25 p.m. Mr. Skelton, there are no questions to answer yet. We'll see what we have from the board. Commissioners, Dr. Keene.
So I can show you, and forgive me, because there may be some reworking being done, and Christopher has left, so Natalie Wheeler Trail has traditionally run right down Union Street here, and then it comes into this site, and I think it continues on south to Cool Creek Park.
And this development is up in the upper right-hand corner?
No, it's right here.
Oh, it's on the lower right-hand?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything further, Dr. Keene? No. Okay, very good. Any other members of the commission wish to ask any questions or make any comments? Oh, Mr. Bunkefist.
I was just curious, sorry
Nope.
about that.
Mrs. Carlson.
How many apartment units are going to be with that?
There are currently 102 planned. That could change slightly as the architectural drawings are 100% completed, but 102.
And one of the concerns with this resident is the traffic in that area. So those other apartments above have nothing to do with you, so this is like a whole new apartment complex?
It's not a complex. I mean, this is. I mean, the apartment and the commercial don't work without each other. So I mean, they're really part of the same buildings.
Just living space over a retail?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm just curious about the traffic, because I
Yeah.
actually drive there a lot.
That's okay. Well, and so from a traffic perspective, most of the folks that would be accessing this site, unless they're coming from somewhere else to get there, like for an evening or something, this site is already zoned commercially, so it's going to have trips. So, but the folks that would reside here or would probably be not going east. They're probably going west to the highway. And this is designed as 161st Street is identified in the city's thoroughfare plan as a primary arterial, and that's how it will function and how it will be designed. Yeah.
Dr. Keene.
They've already got the exit and entrances put in now, so you kind of see the definition for this. I would assume most people would exit onto 161st to get onto 31. They would walk that exit, and they wouldn't come in that way because I'm not sure you get across.
You can't. It's a right in, right out.
Mr. Bunkefist.
Just one kind of granular question. When we're looking at the amenity layout and you see the transition from, I'll call it linear parkway to parking lot there, on the, what I'll call page left side, you have this kind of clear transition. There you kind of have the, hey, welcome from the parking lot straight into the walkability side, right? Will there be more buffering? I know I see some like pine trees, it appears, but curious what that imagery is.
So if I can I ask our architect to come up? They put a lot of thought into this, and I don't.
I'm sure there was, yeah.
I don't want to deprive you. And as far as buffering goes, the way this site lays out, I mean, the only planting requirements that really still apply, because it's not a normal suburban shopping center. I mean, it's basically all the people stuff is inside, so it'll be hardscaped. It's really the perimeter that gets the treatment.
And that's what I'm asking, right? It's just you have this beautiful amenity section, and at least on paper, it looks like, and you're going to turn and just stare to see a parking, right?
Yeah, I get
and so that's the question.
We still have to comply with all the perimeter parking lot landscaping and all. I mean, that's extensive. Go ahead, Dan. Is that the right image?
I think it's
We have
down
the
a
whole
little bit more
site
for me.
plan. That might be a little better.
The bigger
Is that
one?
there? Yeah, just the whole thing. Yeah, there we go.
It's Dan Moriarty.
I'm Dan Moriarty from Studio M Architecture and Planning. And I'm sorry, if you could repeat your question one more time. I was having
Yeah,
a hard
just
time hearing.
if we're looking at the lower massing of buildings, and you obviously have the internalized, again, for lack of better words, linear parkway, pedestrian space, you have, that clear lawn kind of at the bottom of the L there, where you have that turfed landscape there, go up a little bit. No, into the actual development, into the center amenity
Oh, right
space,
here?
and then down a little bit for me, right there.
Right here.
That linear. So you obviously have the bottom part of that is turfed, and you had what a clear, kind of a clear division point between parking in that turf space. Asking what does the transition look like as you get into the open walkway? So go up a little bit, and then go to the right, down a little bit, right there, and then go to the right into the parking right there. That transition from actual walkway to parking, what does that screening look like to separate that space from a sea of parking?
Let me see if I can, there may be a better picture of that. Let me see if I can. If you, yeah, if you can, is there one that shows the perspective again? Yeah. So we don't 100% know what our grading is yet. There is quite a bit of fall across the site. So hopefully once we get approved, we'll be able to investigate that further, obviously with the civil engineer. But as you can kind of see right here, we think there may be a little bit of a transition down into that space. But those details are, let me see, can I window in on that a little bit? No. Can you make it tighter to that one zone? So you can see we've got a little bit of screening right here. And then here's your kind of walkway into the plaza area. So one of the things we were trying to do was focus a little bit more on, because you know, this street here between the hotel and this development, we hope to become a little bit smaller scale and a little slower and a little more walkable between the hotel and this development, rather than along, you know, the main roundabout there. It's not as, maybe as inviting from a pedestrian and bicycle standpoint. So if you remember that original master plan, the idea was to kind of bring people down from the north, like through this way a little bit more on the, I'll call it on the northwest side, if that makes sense. So, and pushing we try to keep our parking to just a double lane wherever we can, just to kind of avoid that sea of parking feeling. And this being, we hope to be the, you know, kind of a gateway into Westfield from the south. We wanted to do something that really kind of announced that corner and announced the fact that you're making a transition into Westfield here. And I'm not sure if that answered your question fully, but
It
take a follow-up.
helps, right? And it sounds like, you know, you're saying there'll be some level of curb there, given the slopage or the drop that you're going to have. If there could be a little more maybe intentionality between that kind of demising point of walkway to parking. You know, you picture, I don't even know, you don't want to take away parking mass, but you picture parallel parking instead of all those cars front way or something, right? Or additional buffering or whatever it is. I know we'll see this in workshop and we can think more about it between now and then. But just kind of an open question for now.
And to bounce off of that, my concern was, so when I think of Carmel Midtown, which is kind of, I guess, the most comparable item we have to this discussion, obviously the space, the open plaza space, the parking isn't kind of dead on, which I'm not necessarily convinced it should or shouldn't change. Again, in workshop, that's a discussion we should have. The screening definitely is something for me, but this area, as opposed to some of the other spots, like in front of this building where people will be walking essentially to go into this building or what have you, that's one thing. But in the plaza, when people are parking and people are sitting and eating and kids are playing and running back and forth, I always kind of think about safety when people are pulling in, something like that. And what will there be, especially I guess on this to the right section, I guess more so than anything, because there's essentially no structure there. There's some trees, you know, people park, you know, pull in and park, they accidentally hit the gas, something happens. What, is there any safety buffering included in, I guess, this architectural or tree buffering? And it's something I just, because it is different. When I think about Midtown, it's almost impossible to do that because they don't pull in like these kind of load. Right. They do parallel park along, I think, almost all of it, if memory serves. And so just some intentionality of, again, you don't have to answer that now unless you have an answer.
Well,
but
I think right, yeah, I was just going to say that I think it's a good point, and I think you know, whether it's bollards, removable bollards, or some sort of intentional protection there is a good idea.
Because I think when people are walking here to the south, they're obviously mindful of cars because they're walking back and forth. But in that section, people aren't mindful of what cars are doing, right? Kids are playing, people are eating, people are doing whatever.
Here we have a wall,
right,
as you can see. And then,
I'm less worried about that spot based on how it's drawn.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's, as you can see, archways or the pass-throughs here, we wanted to leave, penetrations through the building so people
Yep.
on the street and
Yep.
from the other side of the development could get to the plaza from the north. But as you can see, you kind of ramp down here, and this whole area is lower
Yeah.
than this up here. So, but I think it's a good thing to study.
So, yeah, so
is how
maybe
we
something
kind
we,
of protect that into the
yeah,
plaza.
something we could talk about further at workshop, but I wanted to throw that at you as my thought. Yeah, Mr. Bunkefiss, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Outside of that, I just want to say, obviously pending further feedback at workshop, I do enjoy this project and how it's laid out. I think the intentional placemaking along the commercial corridor as identified, it's a really good mixed-use project, hopefully further spur that kind of commercial side of what we're doing. I like the intentionality of having another microcosm of community separate from downtown, another microcosm of community separate from Grand Park Village, and all these other intentional corridors that we're creating throughout the city. So I would say this product, this amenity style, and the location, personally, I really enjoy it. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to also reemphasize that I enjoy the walkability of this property and the fact that it'll bring that dimension to us. I think that's where we're going in Westfield, is the walkability and being able to have these communities spread out that different destination points throughout Westfield. So it's a large project and it's a massive project, and we absolutely appreciate you guys investing in Westfield. So thank you.
I just have one more thing to piggyback onto what Michael said. I think safety is really important. And you do have kids and parents all over the place in these type of situations, especially in Midtown. Oh my God, what a great investment for Carmel. I think planter bollards are ideal way to make it look pretty and not with and make it look pretty and safe at the same time. The other thing is I think it's great. And I do want to ask if there's going to be a big TV screen somewhere so people can watch movies and kids' movies and stuff like that.
There actually is. It's right over here.
You next. Mr. Buckfist.
Final thing, promise. On the other side of this, so enjoying the intentionality of placemaking, we have no say over this, and it's more of a request of the developer. Obviously, you have to fill your tenancy, but diversification of retail offerings and dining options separate from what we're doing at downtown and other places to truly create that separate placemaking is obviously preferred. Again, no control over that, more of the give it the old honest try for me, but that's all.
Councilor McCarty, you've been waiting.
Yes, just wanted, for the purpose of this body, share the perspective that was shared last week at City Council. Some of the concerns that were mentioned from my fellow councilors was, as Mrs. Hinshaw described, was the overall infrastructure with the area. Mr. Skelton, if you could just scroll back up to the top to reference one particular point. A particular point in particular is coming straight in off of the new Union Street curve, that right in, right out right there. It was potentially suggested at council to eliminate that. So just wanted to bring that into the conversation, as well as some other infrastructure points that were mentioned as well. We'll see what becomes of that. And then also, this was took up some time and discussion, was the overall need of more apartments within the community. I know that staff is working on a study for that. I believe my fellow councilors would like to, of course, see that sooner rather than later. This is 102 apartments in addition to the 300 plus so that are just north of here. So just wanted to mention that as well, that those are concerns from the council. And then, of course, also it just being a good overall fit for the area. Yes, no question, this is a beautiful project. Specifically with me, that if this were to proceed, one, as I've described before, I was perfectly content what was approved in the previous update in 2021, just because it was additional commercial space for residential that would already have been built here, or that is already being built just north of here. And for the purpose, again, of this body, 2021 was the amendment for this parcel, in which was originally approved back in 2007. 2007, this was initially envisioned to be big box retail stores. So the amendment in 2021 was, of course, an improvement. And so if folks see this additional improvement or amendment as an improvement or not, I'm the beholder. But with the overall layout, with the prior design as well as some other neighboring developments that I've referenced previously, such as the farm at Zionsville and so forth, the buildings are right there up on the road for the walkability and hiding the sea of parking. So that would be a concern of mine, is just wanting to have the buildings up close to the road as possible to further drive that connectivity of a sense of place and so forth. But overall, we'll see what comes up between now and workshop.
I'd echo that sentiment because as I'm looking at that eastern walkway, if there's connectivity to any trail systems or any actual right-of-way connectivity into that walkway to promote that walkability, I feel like that's what I'm missing is like, could you repurpose where that parking is to what I'll call Page East, obviously, I think that is actual east too, of that and connect that walkway into any trail systems?
Well, and also kind of eliminates your prior concern of having the perpendicular parking there into the plaza. So.
If I understood your question, you're talking about connectivity to the trail system out on the street here. Thought was that this connection here, we hope to be a little more prominent, and that's we call it, Alex, the triangle here, as a point of arrival kind of for the development. And while there is, you can cross here, I guess we can make a more intentional crossing here somewhere. But the hope was to drive most of the pedestrian, I'll call it bike traffic, down this street rather than down, out here on Westfield, or coming into Union.
With this site, though, would you not say there's also some thought of how do you drive traffic to the north? So what's coming across 161st and coming into it as well? And so while maybe maintaining that connectivity, we're also kind of talking about preserving the southern connectivity, and to Victor's point, maybe being just more pleasing from the roadway, so to speak.
Yeah, and we're happy to talk through that in more detail. It was very intentional to put the people places in a protected space where they could be shared amongst the shops to reorient the site. You're going to create a project with a donut hole of parking in the middle of it, just like the farm. I mean, the farm is designed that way.
On the topic, furthering the topic of connectivity, again, going back to 2021, there was the discussion of a potential pedestrian bridge over 161st into this development, and kind of, again, going along the lines of this discussion and what Mr. Bunkefis is bringing up here. At 161st, you have that trail connector that kind of today just goes nowhere, whereas if you shift the development overall to the southeast, butting up directly to the road, then you have the pedestrian paths going right into the development. The plaza is just further encouraging that additional connectivity, as opposed to you got trail, buffering, parking, then the development, and then more parking and so forth.
And there's some other grade issues there. Yeah, we can talk about it. There's grade issues there too that would have to be overcome, which would not be easy to overcome.
I guess from our experience on other projects, that having this kind of turned inward a bit with the retail rather than right on the roundabout out here, we think makes for a better environment, a little better situation. Not only for safety, but just for the speed of the cars and just kind of the feel of the plaza, having it a little bit more enclosed by the restaurant building here, than having it out on, and actually with the grade here, as I think someone knows, we have to have the parking somewhere, right? So whether it's at the perimeter, separating us from the I'll call it the high volume road, is in our mind preferable to pushing all the parking to the middle, which is our quieter area, I guess, from a design standpoint. So that was the feeling in working with the planning staff, that again, that this road becomes, and hopefully with the hotel here and their future development in here, that this really becomes a little bit more active area, as we said, for pedestrian bikes, rather than out here on the high speed, I call it a high speed road. So,
Further comments? Yes, Dr. Keen.
I'm going to kind of follow up on that last point. It seems to me like once Westfield Boulevard is extended up to 169th Street, and watching the way some people drive, the fastest way to 161st Street is the backside, not to go around the front side. So to engineer something into that to slow traffic down before it becomes a problem might be something to think about. And I have no solution to propose, but I can just see people wanting to get off the divided highway and zip down there to get on 161st Street real quick and cut off a minute or two of time.
So I can give you a little bit of an update, and don't let me speak on behalf of the city, but we've spent a lot of time talking with the engineering department and the public works folks. They are planning to make South Union Street inconvenient to use. The traffic speed has not been, it requires a legislative act, I'm sure, so Victor can weigh in on that, but I think the idea is to try to lower the traffic speed on South Union Street, add another stop, and like I said, this road will be open before we are by the end of next year, and the idea is to really emphasize that movement to get up to 32 and into downtown.
I think Dr. Keen's point, though.
I understand that direction. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the southbound traffic coming off of 169th South,
Yeah,
going
right
to
there.
161st.
Gotcha.
Using the backside to cut off time and distance.
I got you. That's a good point. Yeah. It only works if you're going north on 31, because that's a right. Or actually, that's not true. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is a right in, right out. So you could go down to the roundabout and go either way. Either way. Yeah.
Mr. Khan.
Thank you. Unless I have this wrong, and I apologize if I do, but if the suggestion, is the building to move closer to the road, I'm actually more concerned about that because of safety and cars going through, and you got kids through that area trying to get in a car with my 2-year-old and my 5-year-old. I just know how they spin around, and like that's not something I want near a road. And in addition to that, every building I've ever seen that's up against a road, you don't walk the back of it. You just walk the front, and it's just a wasted side, from my perspective on that. And I like the pathway that they've created there that's kind of separate but still allows some action to go on back there. And lastly, I would just say, I think apartments and, in density in certain areas makes sense, and we need it in Westfield. We may not need it in certain neighborhoods. We want, larger spaces and whatnot. But when you talk about apartments like this, you're talking about young professionals and those that are entering the workforce or are part of the workforce or the beginning workforce. And if we want more companies to come to Westfield, you need living spaces like this for those people who are moving from other states to stay at. I mean, it's just a simple fact. So I wish I had something negative to say, because I don't mean to be just, one-sided here. But in this case, I think that there's a lot of positive with it, and so I just wanted to add those to the comments.
Councilor McCarty.
Yes, thank you. And just piggybacking off of that, I think the concern that was brought up at council is we've previously adopted 5 developments very similar to this within our downtown area. And I don't want to misinterpret my fellow councilors' thoughts, but just that goes into the overall need that we've approved so much already pretty similar to this. And so going back to, yes, a further point by Mr. Bunkefist is having a sense of place in multiple areas of our community is wonderful, but overall, what is the direct need in comparison to the 5 that we've already approved? And then I just also want to reference the CRG project in general there south of the library. That plaza space is actually right up against Westfield Boulevard. That's going to be a linear park there. So that's also what I'm referencing, of not just developments outside of our community, but within our community, that we're already seeing the precedent for buildings being right up on a trail to further encourage that connectivity, as opposed to, again, it having kind of this island design, so. Thank you.
Mr. Buckfist.
And I would say to echo that too, Omar, you're saying you don't want it on the road. We're not saying on the road. You can very clearly see where the property line of the public right-of-way is, right? We're saying potentially as you shift that closer to what right-of-way and have a direct transition from linear park to trail system without parking in between, is that considerable? Then to Dr. Keene's point, of course, does that allow us to move parking to the other side of the building? Because outside of having what could very well be I don't want to call it a drag strip, but yeah, it's a drag strip. Without any, obviously, there could be a lot of speed calming activities there. You also have parking that's going to be directly backing up into oncoming traffic to get out of their parking too. So is there ways to calm that side while transitioning it over to the other side?
Yeah, and the city's economic development team sees this as more of a promenade. It's a quiet, it's a slow-moving, quiet kind of place, kind of similar to the closeness of the area down in Midtown along the Monon.
As ideated, right? But I guess that's the question: is what does the thoroughfare actually look like to promote that promenade?
Exactly, and those are all things we have to work out with the city. We have to work out with the city, or this project doesn't.
Understood.
I think, Matt, one thing that might be helpful for the workshop is showing how the hotel site plays with this site, and that might give it a better perspective of that instead of looking at it in a vacuum.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not following it, so I'll follow up with you guys individually, but that would be helpful.
Further comments? As we close this out, I just have a general comment, but it's not for you. This is just generally about this. I think the project is overall good. It sounds like there's a lot of things we could talk about tweaking. I definitely agree that this type of space essentially has to have some sort of apartment component for it to work. I get that. I think it's a lovely project. I think my overall question for the city, and it sounds like that information is forthcoming, is how many more apartments can this city continue to take on? I don't know what the answer to that is. I know that this won't work without it, so I am on board with the general concept of what you have here today. I think it's lovely. We don't live too far from this. We would certainly use it. So it sounds like that's forthcoming, and so that's something that, again, as we continue to build out comprehensive plan and everything that we're starting to look at, as the city continues to develop, I do have questions about that. So I don't think I would vote against this because of that, because I think this has to have it to work. But as we start doing that, downtown needs it, I get it, that kind of stuff. But that is a larger question we need to answer. Second, again, not for you, is my just greater concern of Union Street and that connection just altogether. Now, because part of it's closed, there's really just kind of a right-left turn. But eventually, as this comes in, as everything comes online, it almost seems like that road just, because you essentially hit a stop sign and then you got to turn left or turn right or what have you, and that's just going to become a bottleneck at some point. And so, again, not for you, not necessarily for this board, but as this area grows, and I know the city's thinking about ways of slowing that down, but it's still just going to be a bottleneck because it's not, we have lovely roundabouts to the south that alleviated that problem along 161st, but now we have this bottleneck from Union Street, and I'm just interested to see how the city addresses that. But the project's lovely. We look forward to the workshop. You have anything else before we close this out?
I would just, we'll get more information from the Public Works Department, but that, just to be clear, that the entrance that I think you're talking about up here it's actually a left in, right out.
I'm sorry, not on your just the other side of it, where Union Street, no, so right there.
Okay.
Move the cursor here. It has nothing to do with you.
Got it.
Your points are well taken.
Gotcha.
I'm just, the overall flow of that as this continues to get busier is a concern for me. It's not our board to address, but it is a concern that I see because I drive it all the time to come here back and forth. That's how I get there from my house. I live in Village Farms. So I always come up this way. And eventually, as that opens up and this fills out, it's just a bottleneck. But again, not your concern.
Noted.
It sounds like you have a lot on your list. We look forward to the workshop. If there are no other comments or questions, thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. We have no other public hearing items for this evening. We have 2 continued items, I do believe, that we will wait for those to come. With that, we move to our reports and comments section of the meeting. First item is Plan Commission members to each other. Any comments for the board? Seeing and hearing none. City Council Liaison. Councilor McCarty.
Yeah, I'll try not to have my recap be as long as our meeting was last week. It was our longest one thus far with the new council as is. Didn't get home until around 11. But anyway, we swore in 11 new firefighters, so that was wonderful. Have their families in attendance. We had a comprehensive plan update from REA, so if interested, please check that out. On our items of business, all I will say is that the golf cart ordinance was approved, and if you have further questions, please let me know. Then we had ordinance 2536, amending the 2024 salary ordinance to include a $50 stipend for fire and police merit commission members. Ordinance 2542, economic development bond related to the Skinder development that was previously approved. New within our downtown. New business, resolution 25143, creation of Eagletown revitalization area. That was approved. Resolution 25145, parkland purchase. This was something very special to me because I know I say this a lot, but this is essentially in my backyard that I've grown up my entire life, and family previously owned this land before I was a thought as well. So really awesome to acquire new potential park space out in the northwest corridor. Ordinance 2544, North Point 2 annexation. That was approved. Ordinance 2545, the North Point 2 annexation, that'll return in a future meeting. Ordinance 2545, the Chatham Hills PUD amendment, that is what we gave a favorable recommendation this evening. And Ordinance 2546, the Lantern Commons PUD amendment, which is what we just discussed. That is all.
Based on that report, and maybe you're going to do it in your portion, is our next meeting a joint meeting?
It is, and you're stealing my thunder.
Darn it. Will it include okay, I'll just wait. Nope, I'll just wait.
No, go ahead.
Board of Zoning Appeals, Dr. Keene.
We had an exciting meeting. The church inside of Centennial wanted to build a steeple a little higher than churches are permitted to build, although a home could build that high. And we approved the church being able to build a steeple. I actually drive along Spring Mill. They've done such a great job with buffering and everything. You can't see the stuff inside of Centennial anymore from Spring Mill. So it would only impact the residents, if anything.
Plat Committee. We met and finalized Finley Creek Estates. Excellent. We will not meet again this next coming Monday, since that meeting has already been canceled. All right. But no items of business, but we actually did meet. I actually went through and made the meeting kind of long because I hadn't really made that much of a comprehensive update for the Plat Committee of all of the stuff we've been doing. Just kind of mentioned one or two things. I went back through several agendas and brought up a lot of stuff that I'm not sure if everybody was aware of, so it was probably kind of helpful. Good. So that's it. Very good. Now, Kevin.
Well, before we get into the next meeting, I wanted to make an announcement. Ryan Collingwood, who unfortunately isn't here, but deservingly has the night off, we have promoted him to Senior Associate Planner.
Excellent. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, so next time you see him, congratulate him. Yeah. That's a big accomplishment, and we're excited for him. And yeah, August 18th is a joint meeting between the City Council and Plan Commission with our consultants for the comp plan. That is a workshop meeting, so we will plan to hold workshop business. We have one item we're anticipating having a workshop, and then so we'll hold that portion of the meeting, probably officially close the meeting, then open up a new meeting for the joint.
So we will notice 2 meetings is kind of what we talked about, because last time that was such a mess.
It was a little confusing last time. We'll try to be a little clearer.
Okay. Okay. And then I guess my other question then will be, if there isn't a quorum of city council, how does the second meeting work? Because last time there were no city councilors. Well, Councilor McCarty, sorry, our golden city councilor that sits up here with us. You're welcome.
I don't know. You have any thoughts on that? That's a good question.
Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, so your meeting will, proceed as, noticed. And with that one, I think that we would just note that even though it was noticed, there's not a quorum of counselors, but you still intend to proceed. So,
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I think
Right.
we can just verbally note it for the record. and
Good.
Proceed forward.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Any other items from y'all?
That was it for me. Thanks.
Location for that meeting?
Location will be at City
Oh,
Services. Yeah.
Well, yes, sorry. Well, city services at our normal workshop location.
Okay.
Yep. Good question.
Don't let them turn the tables. Don't let them do the tables again.
No?
I don't like that.
That may be
All right.
the only way to get everybody in there.
I understand. Any other business to come before the commission? Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. McCarty and Bunkefist. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are done at 8 o'clock, exactly an hour. Well done. Even though we were the ones that ate it most of the time. Pull that back and forth. Hey, thank you. Good to see you. Take care. Bye.
Is it naive for me to say that the planning commission, I'm going to say this rashly,
Hold the mics off.
doesn't care about multifamily inventory? Because at the end of the day, we're here to approve the elected location, the elected use, and then let our counselor determine whether or not there's a saturation of that inventory. Well, it was a broad question. No, I was just sitting here like, when we start thinking about.
We are off.
Are we off? Okay. I was just like sitting here and we're going through, obviously you guys are creating the multifamily inventory report. And at the end of the day, the question is naively, does the planning commission really care about the inventory report? Because at the end of the day, we're here to talk about use, land planning, everything in between. Really, we approve the use. We don't even approve the use. We recommend the use. And then we leave it up to our counselors and their ultimate godlike discretion on whether or not there's a saturation of inventory, whether or not that really jives. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to determine, does the use make sense? Yes, no, in between? So if somebody comes to us, and again, it's the same scenario of, well, the traffic, understood, go talk to engineering. Well, the inventory, understood, go talk to planning and to council. Like, those different key pieces aren't really for us to. The market determines the market. Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, there's not. Now, what I would say as a, right.
That was my
Right.
thought, was saying how many, if the number of apartments, for now, sure, it might be okay for a year or two. But all those companies like that want to come into Kokomo, that want to come, that are not, because they have 200 jobs that they're bringing, or they have 300 jobs, I mean, there are massive places opening up, and I'm just thinking about those things and saying, do we care? I don't, we need more. I don't know.
Right.
You might have a lot of apartments near Grand Park, but those might not appeal to somebody who wants to live in a more walkable area.
Right.
This is your mid-tier, like, you got an entry, but then you got a mid-tier section too, and I don't see that much.
And to Ryan's point, I would echo too, like, the incentives do matter, right? Like, how many of these are supported on the private market with or without incentive? But again, go talk to Janelle and talk to council about that. That's up for them to determine whether or not there's a true ROI for them. Does it jive with the land use that's prescribed to us and or the land use that we as a group are working to ideate? Yeah.
Agreed.
One of the biggest things
Politicians.
Right.
But the comp plan would push us towards areas of that type of density versus not, and that's where maybe, right. And so when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Correct.
But again, this is one of those key corridors where it's red to me means dense, right? Like, we're already talking about a dense corridor in the first place. So like this, whether or not it's commercial mixed use or commercial adjacent, still flows with the ideation that was prescribed 18 years ago.